there, all my didgeridoo enthusiasts, just like me. Um, I haven't made a video since my video series on how to make an agave didgeridoo. If you haven't seen that and you're interested, just go to YouTube and pump in my name, Edward Nix, Nix, and then the word didgeridoo. So Edward Nix and didgeridoo, and that should get you to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about many questions that a lot of didgeridoo players that just started out have. And those three questions are what is back pressure? And the other question is, do I play from the side of my mouth or from the front? And the last question I want to talk about is my animal sounds that I make through the didgeridoo are not loud. They're not clear, they're not loud, and no matter how much I try, they're not loud. So I've been learning how to play the didgeridoo for about 3-4 years now, and those are the questions I ran into, and I'm sure that a lot of you beginners have the same question. So let's start out with the last one. You know, how to produce clear, loud animal sounds. Well, I noticed that gods, it's so hard to really make these clear sounds until I was watching one of the people I subscribe to, which is Didge House, and he came up with a clear answer, and which I want to convey to you now. And he says, just keep your mouth open a little bit to let the sound out, because as you produce the drone, your lips are basically closed, and they're only doing this depending on the drone. So try to, when you get ready to produce a sound, to open your lips a little bit to let the sound out, and you will notice that, my God, it's a lot louder now. So, and that I got from, like I say, I forgot his name, but his channel is Didge House, and that was some good advice. Now the other question is, do you play from the side or from the front? Now I've heard a lot of people say, well, it doesn't really matter, whatever feels comfortable to you. And I've seen a lot of very good didge players that play from the side. One of them is my favorite, which is an Aboriginal man, Raika Ali, and unfortunately there's only one good video of him playing the didgeridoo, and it is from many years ago, and I'm very impressed with that video. But I did notice this man plays a little bit to the left of his mouth, and that is kind of unusual, because I noticed that most Aboriginal indigenous people play straight on from the center. And so since when you start advancing in didgeridoo playing, there is a lot of articulation of words, whether they mean anything or not, but you have to articulate these words so that your tongue moves the right way. It's easier when you're first starting out, to force yourself to play from the center straight out, because since you have to articulate these words, it's easier to articulate them. Uh, for example, nobody talks from the side of their mouth, like this, but you talk from the front. So, and the problem is, like, I got used to playing from the side, unfortunately, and I'm having the hardest time making a good crisp drone from the center, and I'm still working on it. And believe me, it's, in my opinion, I'm not claiming to be an expert. It's better to start right out from the center uh, of playing, to play the didgeridoo, to produce the drone. So one thing that I discovered that helps with me producing a drone from the center is I accidentally discovered this, because this is another problem that a lot of people probably have with, especially males probably, is your lips start bleeding. Your upper lip, my upper lip start bleeding. After only maybe 10 minutes of playing, I couldn't practice any further because it was bleeding. So I discovered this is caused by your mustache. Uh, but because the hairs of the mustache curl inward into the lip, and as it vibrates, it starts irritating the skin, and then also you feel a little pain, and it starts bleeding. So I try to trim it back a little bit, not to keep it that long that it pokes into the lip. Uh, but before that, I was seeking the answer to this bleeding lip thing, and so I was putting Vaseline on my lip and all that. But then, and then one day I thought, hell, let me try this wax, this mustache wax, and it's beeswax from Australia. See that? I bought it at Walmart, and I put that on my upper lip and lower lip, and also my mustache, to see if that could cure this bleeding problem. But I discovered at the same time that your lips become kind of sticky, and when they're sticky, it's a lot easier to produce a drone. And it was easy for me to produce a drone right from the center that sounded crisp enough, but for me to get used to play right from the center. And that's strange, you put something on your lip, but I discovered you don't want to make it slick, you want to make it kind of sticky, and this wax makes it kind of sticky. So try it, especially the beginners that have problem producing a drone. Go to Walmart and get some beeswax. It says here, let's see, contains the finest imported beeswax from Australia, from Australian honeybee. The secretions provide a stiff wax that is soft and easy to apply, great for dreadlocks and other styling needs. So that gives you an idea where to find this stuff, Let me know if that helps you with your drone. And okay, then the last thing I want to talk about is back pressure. What is back pressure? Back pressure is when a didgeridoo produces enough pressure in the didgeridoo so that you don't seem to be running out of air too quick. When you have low back pressure, you play and it's like, my God, I gotta take a breath, So I discovered that, making didgeridoos, that the lower the drone tone, the lower the back pressure will be. out of the didgeridoo because it takes a lot of air to produce that low drone. So, so what is the solution to that? Well, I found out it's the size of the mouthpiece, the hole in the mouthpiece. Uh, the smaller the hole that you can play with, the better. It's like if I use no didgeridoo and I just vibrate my lips, there's no back pressure except the pressure in your cheeks. So, but if I play through a small hole like in the mouthpiece, the pressure goes up. If I keep my mouth closed, there's a lot of pressure. So between keeping your mouth closed and your mouth open, there's got to be an in-between there that produces the right pressure that you can still produce a drone. And this opening, for most people, now it depends on you, but for most people, I assume, and especially for me, I discovered, would be an opening of 3 centimeters. Now, 3 centimeters is like an inch and let's see. I have a socket here that's 3 centimeters. Okay, that's an inch and 1/8. An inch and 1/8 or 3 centimeters. So the problem is, of course, you have a didgeridoo, you measure the opening and it's a lot bigger than 3 centimeters, and you say, aha, that's the reason why I'm running out of breath. So how can you make that opening smaller? Well, there's several ways. You can cut the mouthpiece off and make a totally new mouthpiece and glue that on, but that's a lot of work. What I found is I use polymer clay that you can buy in any hobby shop. And I'll show you the results first. Remember that agave didgeridoo I made? I wasn't totally satisfied with the back pressure. I wanted higher back pressure. So I made the opening smaller to 3 centimeters. And there it is. This is polymer clay. It's totally pliable like clay. And you form it in there. And I formed it in there with the socket in there and pushed it in and all that and worked it. And once I was satisfied with it, you have to bake it. Now here's the problem. You have to bake it to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how much that is in Celsius. I didn't look that up. But 300 degrees Fahrenheit, that's the temperature of my barbecue outside. So how do you protect the wood? You protect it by taking an old t-shirt, shred it up in pieces, wet it, and then wrap the wet t-shirt around here for about a foot. And put some elastic bands around it so it doesn't unravel. And then take another piece of wet t-shirt and cram it into the opening here until it's just below the mouthpiece so that the hot air doesn't go in. Now don't use an open flame or anything like that, or microwave oven. I don't know if you can stick this in a microwave oven. You got to have a real big microwave oven, but I'm just saying that because it says on the package don't use an open flame or microwave it. And but I use a industrial heat gun that I bought at Harbor Freight. It's like a super hair dryer that is a lot hotter than a hair dryer. and you heat it up for about 10 minutes, and it's hard. Now here's the clay I use, but you can use other brands. As you can see, the price is $249, and it's called Kato Poly Clay, and it's very pliable. It says when you first use it to knead it with your fingers, and as you knead it, you notice that it's getting really soft and pliable, and then you kind of roll it into like a little worm, and then line it up on the start on the inside. You have to make it stick to the inside. Oh, before you do that, clean it with alcohol so you have a good surface to stick to. And then once it's dry, you put that clay inside and push it in there, and also a little bit on the outside. And then I use that, where is that thing? This here, to see if I got the opening right. See? And then push it around inside, around it, and make it as neat as possible. You might have to flatten the top. I just used my ruler to flatten it. And then once you're satisfied with it and you got a nice little round hole or whatever shape you want, now you have made the hole smaller. And it sticks real good to the wood. Then go through your process of with a wet rag and heat it up for about 10 minutes. Now I noticed like the next question was, how close do I keep that heat gun? So I just went to my barbecue and put it on the temperature gauge, which is on the lid, and I noticed I had to keep it about half a foot away from the temperature gauge to reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty hot, you know. So make sure that you have it nice and wet. You do that, and you wind up heating only the clay, the poly clay. Then let it cool off by itself, and you might have to take a knife, a sharp knife, and carve out the inside, which is now should be hard. I would do that the next day, and then carve it out nice and taking care not to ruin the hole. So that's what I use, poly clay. Real nice stuff. Actually looks like black beeswax, but it's hard, very hard. And that's one way to make the opening smaller of your mouthpiece to increase your back pressure. I hope you like this informative video. I don't claim to be an expert, but those were my findings as I'm trying to learn how to play the didgeridoo and how to make them and all that. And I just want to share that with you. And if you like my channel, please sign up, because I could use the membership. You know, I'm not making any money from it, but it's just a hobby, you know, while I'm retired, and I really enjoy this instrument. Hope you do too. See you next time.